All right, hello everybody. Hopefully everyone can hear me and everything looks good. I did a little bit of testing. I'll put the light back on, brighten it up a little bit. Today we're gonna go through building a multiplayer game. I'm gonna continue on from the project that I started with the last stream, but I'm gonna really quickly run through it so that anybody who didn't see that can understand what the starting point is, what it looks like, and how the code works. It's not very complicated, but I think it's worth just a real quick, like 3 or 5 minute recap to show everybody what we're starting with and what we're going to turn into multiplayer. And then, yeah, I'll talk more about it. Let me take a drink, hit play, and let's see the game in action first. So the game that we built in the last stream that I went through building is just this little third-person shooter where you can run around with WASD and you can use the mouse to aim. Everything sounding good? To make sure that everything's still sounding good out there. So you can run around, kill the robots, get some points. A bunch of different robots spawn, and we can keep track of the high score. There's a high score right up there of, what is it, 7,500? I'll see if I can beat it real quick. Give me a second. Give everybody a chance to get in. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to live. I kind of went behind the text. Can I beat 7,500? Probably not. Oh, there we go, 9,000. So you see if I stop playing now and play again, we save off that high score. Let's see. There it is. There's the high score. So let's take a real quick look at the project right now, what it looks like, how it's all put together, and then we'll go through how to turn it into a multiplayer game where we have two players running around shooting, keeping track of scores and competing, maybe add some goals, and just keep building on some really cool features. And I'll try to explain it all as I go along so you can kind of follow along. Also, if you want the code that I'm going to go over, there's a link in the description. You can just go grab it. It's at a game.courses/3D-shooter. I probably should have got rid of the dash there. But if you go to that page, you'll be able to just grab the source code and follow along. I can't give away the art because it's from some asset packs, but you can grab the art yourself or get whatever art you want and use the same code. It's going to work exactly the same. The process isn't any different. All right, let's take a look at the project now. So the first thing I got in here is the actual player. This was the dude that was moving around, and it's this robot soldier that came from an asset pack that I pulled in. It's got a rigid body on it, a capsule collider, and then it has two scripts on it for moving around. It's got that player script that moves it using WASD, and then it has a gun to do some shooting and the aiming. Let's take a real quick look at the player script. So here we are. We're in. Oh, well, hold on. I'm not showing my desktop. Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll start that over. Let's go back to what the game actually looks like, and not just me blabbing about it. Okay. Good stuff. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. All right, so here it is in the actual game with me running around and shooting and blowing stuff up. So you can see my score. You can see it going up as I blow up robots. And you'll see that I'm not probably going to beat that high score of 10,000 this time. Last time it was 7,000. I beat it. Oh, maybe I will. Let's see. I'll keep trying and see if I can beat my high score in this game. This little Marvin robot's worth a lot more points than everybody else. So got to shoot a couple more of them. Come on. There we go. Now I broke the high score. If I stop playing and play again, you'll see that it starts showing up again. Okay, there we go. Hopefully everybody's seeing it now, right? So you see the new high score is showing up. So let's take a look again at what the asset or what the project looks like and what the actual character looks like, how it's set up, and then look at the code. So here's the soldier again. This is our first player, the one I was just talking about. It's got an animator that's doing the little running animation, and it also does an idle animation when we stop playing. Here, let's take a real quick look. So if I am not moving around, look, he just kind of stands still and shoots. And if I run, he plays a little run. That's the animator doing that. We've got a rigid body controlling the movement or controlling the physics interaction with the movement. And it's primarily there for handling collisions because we need to handle collisions when we get hit by an enemy and die. In fact, I don't think I showed that. If I play and if I die, you'll see that the game just resets. And don't worry, we're going to see this code in just a second so you'll know exactly how it works. So there we go. You saw it died, it reset. Let's go look at the player again. The other thing it's got, capsule collider for handling the collisions. And then it's got the player script and the gun script. Player one, again, is for moving around, and the gun is for aiming and shooting. So let's look at the player script. We'll open up, and here you can see we've got a script that's inheriting from mono behavior, so it can be a component. It's got two serialized fields for speed and the direction. I'll talk about the direction one in a second. Speed is a pretty straightforward and obvious one, though. It's effectively how fast the character moves. We turn it up while we're playing, he'll move faster. Let's scroll down a bit more. So I've also got in here an animator that we're caching. Oh, I went right past it. That's the one that we're using to control whether he runs or walks. And you see that line down here on 21. And then here we read the horizontal and vertical input. We move the character based on that input by creating a vector using the horizontal and vertical and ignoring the Y because we don't want to go up and down. And we're just using transform.translate to move it. Now, the one thing that I talked about that was a little bit, or said I would talk about, a little bit different is this direction here, this transform object. The reason that we're using that and the way that it works is, well, here, let's delete this comma and re-add it so we get the IntelliSense. So let's do it so that it's not behind my head. There we go. So you see that if I add a comma, one of the optional methods for optional ways to call translate is to pass in a transform to move relative to. So you'll move relative to its orientation. And if we go back into the game, you see that my player is referencing this direction object right here that's placed in the scene. If I go to it, I'll go hit F over the scene view. See that this is actually oriented just like my camera, but with the Y, or only on the Y. So it's oriented and turning. And if I want, I can adjust this at runtime to completely adjust the way that my player input moves. I can flip it around or whatever else I want to do. All right, we'll go back into the gun script because that does the movement. And then I think we'll just get into writing some code, start making the movement multiplayer because I'm talking a lot and not writing a lot of code. I want to get to writing code really quick. So first, let's look at how the movement works. So the movement system, or the aiming part of the movement is all done in the gun right now. And that's because we needed the direction to determine which way to shoot. So we do it by creating a ray using the camera main screen point to ray, just getting a ray in from the camera over where our mouse is, and then doing a ray cast into the world. So we're essentially seeing where the mouse is in the world, what position of terrain the mouse is over. We get that point back, and we get that back in this hit info object, or this raycast hit, which is I think it's actually a raycast hit object. The default name for it a lot of time is hit info, but here it's named raycast hit. So we get the point where we hit on the ground, we get the direction there to that point, and then we turn ourselves in that direction by setting transform.forward to that direction. And here on line 21, we're just flattening it out. After that, we deal with shooting, which is essentially just looking to see if we're ready to shoot. Can shoot just says, hey, if our time is greater than the next time we should shoot, then do our shooting. And the shooting goes through a relatively simple pooling system. I don't want to dive into a full review of that code, though. So let's get into making it so we can move two players around, make our player script multiplayer. And we'll start with some really simple stuff. I've got I lied. First, I'm going to make it so that we don't use the mouse. Because the more I think about it, if I want to make it multiplayer, and the first version of multiplayer I want to do is just with two controllers. Then I want to get like two controllers on my arcade cabinet and then make it networked multiplayer after. See how far I get with that. But I want to start with just two PlayStation controllers because it's going to be the easiest way to go. And then we'll get our project started to be set up for more multiplayer separation. So the first step is going to be making it just work for two different players. I got two controllers here. I need to update my player script and my gun script so that I can move around with these. But I also need to get rid of the mouse input because if I need to aim with my mouse like I have it now, let's just go see it real quick for anybody who's not sure what I'm talking about. Right now, the aiming is based on where I'm pointing the mouse, and that's obviously not going to work for two players. I could maybe have one player use the mouse and keyboard, and then one use the controller. But I think I'm going to set it up to just use two controllers because I think that'll be better when I switch it over to an arcade cabinet. And I wish I could turn my camera easily. But I got the cabinet set up over there with just two little controllers. I'm thinking to use one to move around and one to aim. So just kind of map that right here. And then again, after that, we can just switch it out to networked multiplayer once we get it actually working as a local multiplayer first. All right, so let's get going with the code for this. So what would we need to do? Well, first we'll go into our gun script, and let's make it so that our gun script no longer aims the character. I'm going to move this to its own script or maybe into the player script. Kind of up in the air about it. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just put it on its own script and then maybe merge it. Actually, no, I'm just going to move it to the player script. So what I'm going to do here is take all of the code that does the directional stuff, the part in my gun. Let's zoom out a bunch so you can see the entire script. So here you'll see that in the update, we check to do some aiming and then we check to do some shooting. And then all of this stuff is related to shooting. In fact, I could see that even better if I take this part doing the raycast and I just added a method. So I hit extract method. I selected the whole chunk of code. Let's zoom this in a little bit. I want to make sure it's obvious. Select this whole chunk of code, hit Alt Enter, hit extract method, and call this aim towards mouse. Now I've got a method that handles aiming towards the mouse and another one that handles shooting. And now I know that, hey, this chunk of code really doesn't necessarily need to be in the gun and could probably be in its own class. And the reason I want to separate it out is because then when I do it like this, I can see, hey, is there anything else that doesn't count in there? And I don't see anything, but let's move it and see what happens. So take this chunk of code, this aim towards mouse. I'm going to go up here, create a new class, and zoom in a bunch. I'm going to make it a public class, and let's call it aim towards mouse. Or let's call it controller aim. I like that better because it's a controller-based aiming system. We'll use it, make it a mono behavior so it can be a component, and then I'll paste in that method, the aim towards mouse method. Delete out the private keyword because I don't need it. And then here I've got the first little error. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that direction doesn't exist. So I need to fix that and make some sort of a direction. But really, when I think about it, I might not even need to cache this direction. So I could probably just say var direction equals that. The other thing I'm going to need is, well, do I need the shoot point? Yeah, I'm going to need the shoot point. So I'm going to have to take, let's see. Do I want to do it that way then? Let's see. That's going to get me my direction from this. Yeah, let's do it. We'll move the shoot point onto the controller aim here. In fact, I'm starting to think this might go more over to the player. And then, let's see, does this need the shoot point too? The shoot point is needed on here too. I'm going to move the shooting point to the player. So I'm going to cut that. Since I need it in both of these scripts and they both need a player, I'm going to just put it onto the player. And again, I might end up just moving some of this stuff over to the player. So this shoot point, by the way, for anybody who hasn't seen the previous one, is actually just a child object down here. If I expand it out here, I'm going to hit Alt and click to expand everything. And if I look down here, I think it was under the right hand. There it is, this shoot point object or transform child. And it's underneath the rig for the animation. So if I zoom in here, if I hit play, I'm just going to let it play for a sec. Oh, I've got an error I got to fix. I'll let it play, but you'll see what happens is this essentially follows the tip of the gun. It's a point for us to shoot out of. We don't use the rotation on it, just the actual position of it so that it shoots kind of from the gun, so we get the cool looking effect. Let's go back, fix the code, and then we'll show that in action in a minute. So we've got our shoot point moved over to the player, and then I need to make sure that this is accessible from my gun and my other script. So I'll make this I'll make a public property that wraps it. So say public transform shoot point, and I'll just make it return back shoot point, just using an expression body public property. So this is the same as writing it like this: get return this that. So I could write did I write it right? Public transform get I missed. See, I missed a brace here. There we go. I put it in the wrong spot. The same as writing it like that, but just much shorter to use the expression body method or expression body property. That's my preferred method now. So there we go. We've got a publicly accessible shoot point that can only be set in the inspector. It can't be modified. It could technically be set on the player too, but nothing outside of it can modify it. So if I go back over to my gun, this can now reference my player's shoot point position. So I'll say underscore player dot shoot point dot position. And then down here, I'm going to do the same. Now, player doesn't exist on these. We're going to create it in just a second. So I'm going to get rid of this aim towards mouse on the gun script. Zoom down here. Actually, let's just zoom out a bunch so you can see both of these scripts. And I'm going to move controller aim to its own file. So if you just click on the class name, here, let's zoom in. Click on the class name, Alt Enter, and hit move to file. There we go. It's the third one there. If you hit the top one, you might end up moving it the wrong place. So make sure you look and click on the right thing. So move it to its own file. And then let's zoom out a little bit again, and let's fix the issues here. So this gun is still referencing the shoot point, and that's just to get the bullet's rotation. And really, I don't think that, well, let's see, do I need the shoot point's rotation here? I guess I do, right? Because I'm using it to, I probably don't need it for the rotation, but I do need it for the position. So I'm going to make this be underscore player dot shoot point. I'm going to scroll this up and zoom it in again. So I'll make it underscore player dot shoot point, and we'll do the same thing here. Underscore player dot shoot point. Now I'm going to fix that right in these two spots, and then we're going to go actually make the player because the player doesn't exist, and this seems a little bit confusing. I'm essentially making a reference to this shoot point on the player that's usable by both of these other scripts. So I have my gun script and my controller aim script. If I hit controller aim, control comma, by the way, to bring this little search up, both of these need to get this shoot point from the player. First, I'll fix it in controller aim, and then we'll go back to the gun and fix it. So to fix it in controller aim, I can just add an awake. And then I'm going to shorten this up. Watch this. We'll shrink it way down. And I'll make it an expression body method. And we'll say underscore player equals get component player. Add some braces or our parentheses. And then we'll generate a field for player. So click on it, Alt Enter, and generate a variable. Get that? I'll double click on private and delete it too. All right, so now we've got a player here. And all we need to do is make this update, or this get called during the update. In that case, since we're only doing one thing, I'm just going to replace aim towards mouse with update. So it gets called every frame and save that off. I think that fixes our controller aim. So now our controller aim will reference a player and it'll reference the shoot point on there. In fact, since our controller aim always needs a player, I'm going to add the require component attribute here, and we use the type of and give it type of player. This will do is just make it so that controller aim requires a player. It won't work. It won't let you add it to the script or to an object without a player. If you try to, it'll actually add a player automatically. All right, so that will fix that issue up. And then we'll go into our gun and we'll fix it here. So same thing here. Actually, let's go to controller aim. I'll just copy these 2 lines and go to gun, go up to the top, and I'll just paste them in right here. We've got another field right after our pool for our player, and then we've got the awake. Get rid of that extra space there, that extra space, and that one. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, make sure everything's updated. Looks good. Okay. All right, so let's see. Anything going on? Sorry, I've been trying to keep an eye on stuff, but chat's, hopefully I didn't miss anything too important there. If for anybody asking if this will be available after, yeah, it'll still be there. You'll be able to go back through, rewatch it, follow along and stuff, and I'll post the updated code too. The current code that I'm using as a starting base is right down below. You can just go grab it, copy it out of the gist or something, and start playing along yourself. All right, so we've got our scripts both updated. I've got my controller aim updated. I'm going to go double check that it works, and then we're going to make it actually be a controller aim, because right now I had named it controller aim, but that's really a lie. This is a mouse aim. So we've got the code moved out. We're going to add it on here, and then we'll fix it up. Let's go to our robot soldier now that it's extracted and added. If I hit play now, I expect that I can't turn around, right? I shouldn't be able to turn. If I can turn, then yeah, then it would mean that my gun script wasn't updated. So let's add the controller aim. Now I should be able to spin around with the mouse, and then we'll go change it to be an actual controller aim. Let's see. Oh, what? Oh, I'm not actually hitting it. Oh, okay, there's an issue. The problem here, if you look down at the log, is that I didn't assign the shoot point. This happens all the time. I moved the reference from the gun to the player, which breaks the reference. So I just need to go find the shoot point here. I've got the player selected. I've got the shoot point right there available to drag. I just click drag, don't release until I get on it, and then release. Save and play, and now I expect to be able to spin around. There we go. Now I can spin. My bullets are not firing. I think that's because I'm not using the rotation, but we'll figure that out in a second. For now, let's get the controllers moving. I don't really care about the bullets until I get the controller part moving and working. So I'm right now turning with the mouse, and I want to be able to turn with the thumbstick. I'm also only moving with WASD. Let's go hit play and see if I can move with the thumbstick at all. See if it works or not. So I hit play. Got my thumbstick here. I can go left and right. I cannot go up and down. If I hit this other thumbstick, it doesn't do anything. And there we go, I died. So I need to first fix moving. I'm going to fix that on this controller, and then we'll set it up for our next controller. So let's stop playing, and we'll go into our robot, and let's go to the player script. And right now, the player script is reading our horizontal and vertical axes. And these are set up, if we remember, it's in Edit, Project Settings, and Input Manager. And then here we have a horizontal and vertical. These are for the keyboard. This is reading left, right, or WASD. Here you see left and right there, or A and D for horizontal. And then vertical is W and S, and then up and down. So those aren't the ones that we want to use, but those are the ones that I'm using right now to move around. The ones I want to use for the controller are down here. They're horizontal, that's like halfway down. There's this one that's set up to joystick axis X, and it's set up to read from all joysticks. So theoretically, it should move horizontal on any joystick. And then there's the vertical one, which is set up to Y on all joysticks. So the problem here is that with PlayStation controllers, and I don't know if it's just my setup or all of them, I assume it's all of them and just the default here, we need to change this to third axis. And again, it might change in different Unity versions too. I'm not completely sure. But for this case, I need to switch this over to the third axis instead of the Y axis. If I hit play now, I should be able to move around with this controller. Let's see. Click in the game view. There we go. Now I can move around with it. And I have this other controller. I can actually move around with either one of them. So that's kind of working. But now I want to switch it up so that I can only move with one controller. And then I also want to add in an aiming with one controller. So I'm going to add in a new axis here. And the reason I'm doing the movement first is because I'm going to need to add in an axis for both players. And I'm also going to need to add in an aiming axis for both players and a moving axis for both players. So I'm just going to start by creating the first one as a moving axis for both players, and then we'll make the aiming one and fix up our spinning around part, I guess. So the first one is going to be a horizontal, but for just player one. So I'll change this over to be just joystick one, and I'm just going to add the number 1 at the end of it. I'm going to do the same with the vertical. I'll change this to vertical 1 and change this to read from joystick 1 only. And then I'm going to collapse these down so that you can see them all, and right click on horizontal 1 and hit duplicate array element. I'll rename this to horizontal 2 and change this to joystick 2. Collapse that down and duplicate this vertical, make vertical 1 into vertical 2 and switch it to joystick 2. Now I should have two different axes reading from the different joysticks. If I move this just kind of out of the way or something and hit play, my controllers shouldn't work. I should no longer be able to move around. The reason for that is that I got rid of horizontal that was reading from the joystick. Yeah, I did. I just wanted to double check. I got rid of the horizontal and vertical that were reading from the joystick. And I renamed them to horizontal and vertical 1 and 2. So I need to go update the code to make that work. So to do that, I could just go in here and say, hey, horizontal 1 and vertical 1. Right? But then this would only work for one player. So I need to make it work for multiple players. I'm going to change this to be, instead of a number here, plus underscore player number. And I'll copy that and paste it right here. Then I'll generate a field for it, Alt Enter and generate a field. And I'm going to make this an int. Make it a serialized field. And I think I'll just default it to 1. So that by default, the player is controlled as player 1. And we'll move it up here to the top. There we go. We've got a player number that is now used to read the axis. We'll go back into Unity. And I'm going to go collapse everything and just disable my spawners so those robots don't come murder me. There we go. Save them off. Let's hit play and see if I can move around with the controller now. All right, so I'm in. I cannot move with this controller. Let's try this other controller. I can move with this controller. Now, if I click on my player and I change this to player number 2, let's see if it switches up. So I go to player 2, click back in. I can't move with this controller, and then this one does move. So it's working. It's reading from the correct controller. Controller 2 is giving us horizontal, vertical 2. Controller 1 is giving us horizontal, vertical 1. All right, so stop playing, and let's go into the aiming part again. So with the shooting, or with the moving part, we're just reading horizontal and vertical 1 and 2. Let's just make a horizontal and vertical aim 1 and 2. So I'm going to copy my code from the, well, let's go set up the axes first, and then we'll do the code. So go back into the input manager, just under project settings and input manager. And then we're going to expand out, oh, actually, let's right click on horizontal, duplicate it. And I'm going to name this horizontal aim 1. And then I need to figure out the correct axis. So the axis for this, if I remember right, I played with it a bit and I've lost track and I forget. I think it was either like 4 and 6 or 6 and 7 or something like that. So I'm going to try axis 6 here for horizontal aim 1. And then I'm going to duplicate vertical and make a vertical aim 1. And I'm going to try like horizontal 7 or something. Or I mean axis 7, sorry. So there we go, aim 1. I'm going to drag this up. And I'm going to set the axis to, I think 7. Again, I can't remember which axis it was, so I'm going to have to figure it out. Actually, you know what I can do to test this is just go up to a horizontal 1. I can change this over to, is it 6th axis? I can do this while I'm playing even. I can hit play, run around, and see which axis actually starts moving it when I push this controller. So I've got this controller button right here. Oh, no. Okay, it's definitely not 6th. Try 5th. Okay, it's not that one. Let's try the 4th. Nope. I've totally forgotten which axis it is here. 8? Maybe I'm on the wrong controller. That would be funny, right? One of these axes actually controls it, though. I just got to remember which one. And I don't know if I'm going to remember it. Let's see. See, I have it saved off here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe not. All right, I'll figure it out real quick. And somebody was asking about using the new input system. The only reason I'm not using it is just because I'm not sure how much it's going to change or if it's going to change. Like, every time I jump into it, it's changed in the past and then had revamps. And to be honest, like I never know with Unity systems if they're going to stay around or if they're going to end up replacing it with some other asset or something. So I just use the default one when I just need simple stuff like this. Normally, like remembering the mapping for this isn't too bad though. So I'm going to stop playing. I'm just going to go back in and fix it up. So it's let's see, horizontal 1 is going to be x-axis, horizontal aim 1, I gotta figure out the numbers, but I'm going to go with 5th, and I'm going to put vertical aim 1 on 7. And then I'm just going to go into the script and write up the code to read those axes and see if those numbers are right or not. So just go in here, we'll go open up our controller aim, and then here we're going to read those two axes. Actually, I'm going to copy that out of player. Copy the vertical and horizontal, paste them into controller aim right here. And I'm just going to name this or add the word aim here and aim here. And now I'm seeing like I'm going to actually be exposing player number here and having to read it from player just to spin this. I think I'm going to actually cut this code, take everything here and just move it into the player. So cut it out. go to the player, and right below the movement stuff, I'm just going to put it down here. I think this makes more sense and it's going to be a little bit easier. So I'll make this vertical aim or horizontal aim and vertical aim. I like the controller aim. It seemed like maybe it was going to be the right spot, but I don't foresee myself swapping these out often enough or quick enough or soon enough to make it really make sense. So I'm going to delete this, and then we'll maybe we add it back in when we switch over to another network mode or networked mode instead, so that we have some separation. But right now I'm not seeing it as a necessary thing. I think it's always good to just simplify stuff as you're going along. If you feel like you've overcomplicated something or added something you don't need, just go back and delete it. Don't like code yourself into a corner and think that just because you've created something means you have to use it and can't delete it. So I'm going to delete that controller aim script, which is going to give me like a missing script right here. Let's see. We'll remove that. And then we'll go back. Let's see. Our player should be a little bit better and simpler. Let's zoom out a little bit. So our player now is going to read these two aims, the vertical and horizontal aim, and then just set our direction based on that instead of all this mouse stuff. So I'll delete the mouse code, and we'll figure out a new vector just by, I guess, creating a new direction here. Let's delete, 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 and delete that line. And here, let's zoom in and see what we've got. So controller aim is going to shrink down to, I think, this. So we've got the direction here, we're creating it and then assigning it. To be honest here, I don't even know that we need any of that. I think we can put horizontal aim here. We could put vertical aim here. And then we can just, replace direction with transform.forward. So I copy this, paste it right there, delete that line out. And now that entire script has become 3 lines of code. I think that's a little bit better than a whole separate script. So I'm going to delete out that extra space. I might actually, let's refactor these into movement and aiming. So let's refactor this. I'll select this little chunk of code here. I'm going to hit Alt-Enter, and I'm going to hit aim with controller or type. I'm not sure exactly what I want to name it, but name it something explicit. Delete out the private keyword. Now let's make this move with controller. So extract this part, move with controller. There we go. And yeah, that's it. Actually, yeah. Do I want to update the movement? Yeah, that's fine. So right now it's updating it's returning back the movement to set this Boolean. I'm gonna move this into the move so I don't have a return parameter there. So just paste this in, get the animator, setting it in the movement part, make this return nothing, make it void. It doesn't feel perfect because setting the animation is not technically part of the moving. But I don't want to have a return value there just yet. Maybe I'll cache it or something later. But for now, I don't need it. So let's delete out that system. And there we go. We've got a much simpler player. We move with controller, then we aim with controller, and we're done. Let's see if it actually works, though. So Control-Shift-B does a build. Looks like it succeeds. We'll go in and we'll hit play. And let's see if we can actually move around and aim or anything. All right. Where's my player? There he is. Okay, so I got my player. Okay, I can okay. So one of these axes is right. I can see that the up and down axis, the vertical here is right. The horizontal one is wrong. So I'm gonna go back to my input manager and let's see, where's the vertical one that I'm using that's correct. Vertical aim is actually 6 or 7. Let's try 6 here and see if that's horizontal aim. Nope, it's not 6. Let's try a different one. Oh, my mouse is acting up. Hold on 1 second. Stupid mouse. Okay. I had to smack it real quick. All right, let's change this to a different axis. So instead of 6, let's try 5. Let's see, does that work? Nope. Okay, what about how about y-axis? Is that it? Because that wasn't the right one before. 4. There we go. So axis 4. It's 4 and 7, it looks like. So here, see, watch as I push up, he goes up, and I go right, he goes right, down, he goes down, left, he goes left. Although it's not exact, because notice that the direction rotation that I'm doing here is actually, so if I hit left, I'm actually going left in world space and not relative to my direction transform. That's something I should probably fix. We'll do that in a minute though. First, let's get these axes set up and get the other player working. I want to have a second player in here. I've been talking so long and I haven't got a second player going. It's driving me nuts. All right, so we got vertical aim 2. It was 7, and what did I say the other axis was? Oh, geez, how did I already forget? Who remembers what it was? Was it 4? I'm going to play. Yep, it was 4. Okay, so we've got these two set up. Let's go set up the player 2 ones now. We've got horizontal aim and horizontal and vertical movement. So I'm going to right click on well, actually, let's do it on vertical. What do I want to do it on? I think I'll do it on vertical or horizontal too. I'll right click on that one. I'm trying to decide which one to right click on to duplicate because with this input manager, you can't easily just drag and rearrange things. So if I want to have them in a neat order, and I generally do, then I gotta be a little bit careful about how I create them. So I'm gonna go, and I think there are ways to rearrange it, by the way, if you really care, but it's a lot easier for me to just think about it for a second about where I'm gonna put them. So vertical aim 1, vertical aim 2. Let's add a vertical 2 right after here. We'll say vertical aim 2. And this was 7. And then we'll add a horizontal aim 2. So right click on this one, horizontal aim 2. And this was axis 4. All right, so now I've got axes set up for both players. I close that off. I'm going to save, and I'm going to go to File, Save Project too, because that makes it save all of my input settings, my project settings. And then we'll go in and enable the second player. So if we click on our second player, this is actually just another robot that I've drug out here. I'm going to enable him. I pulled him out in the first scene, or the first stream, but I'm going to actually delete him and make a new player from scratch so everybody can see that process and pick the color, and then everybody can pick a color while I take a drink real quick. So for the second player, I'm going to use one of these robot guys, and it looks like they come in, let's see, a couple different colors. I've already got the red guy, and I'm just going to let everybody in chat say what color they want for the second one. It's not the red one, so if you guys want to go with the white one, fine. If not, we'll go with any one of these other colors. So just go ahead and say in chat which one you want to have, and I'll take a drink, and then we'll build up that player, set it up so that they can move around and do stuff. All right, just waiting for chat now. See if anybody's got anything. I'm gonna take a drink. I'm thirsty and just kind of trying to catch up real quick. I see a lot of blue. Lots of blue. One for green, 2 for green. Oh, now it's like a blue-green war. All right. All right. It looks like blue's got the most by just a little bit. So we'll go with the blue one first. All right. So to set up the blue guy, we're going to need to, well, first make sure I got the right character here. I'm going to delete all of these other prefabs except for the blue one. So I'll take everything but the blue. So just shift select them all and delete. Get rid of them all. So I've got just this blue guy right here who just has an animator with no animation on him. I'm going to go over to our player. Actually, let's rename these guys. I'm going to rename this red soldier to player 1, and I'm going to put red right here in parentheses just to make it really obvious for myself that he's the red dude. I'm gonna move him right here, and I'll rename this guy to player 2. I'll make him blue, so it's really obvious to me, so I don't get mixed up later. And then I'm gonna set this player up. So he needs an animator controller first, because if I hit play, he's not gonna animate and have anything on him, right? So we hit play, nothing happens. But we can just take the animator controller from the other player because it's the same mesh and the same model. It animates exactly the same. Just gotta take this player animator controller and assign it. So I'll go to blue and assign the animator controller. Pretty simple. And let's look at the animator controller real quick because it's also simple. The animator controller here, let's click on the blue player and just hit play. It's actually pretty basic. It has a gunplay animation, so by default, he's just constantly shooting. In this game, there's never a situation where you're not shooting, so that makes sense. Just constantly shooting in an animation. And then if you're running, so if we set the run parameter to true, it plays the run animation. That's the whole animator controller. Just back and forth, and that's just done with a transition here that uses a condition for true on running to go into run and false on running to go out of run. But pretty simple, and there was that one line of code in the move that actually set this to true or false based on whether or not our movement was greater than 0. I think you can see that right here. If movement.magnitude is greater than 0, it'll run, otherwise it will not run. All right, so we got the animator on there. Pretty cool. Let's go back to him and set up whatever else he needs. He'll need a player script, so we'll need to add the player script. That's the one that handles the moving and now the turning. It needs the direction transform. Remember, we're using that to move relative to it so that we can move along with the way our camera is without having to understand or figure out the math. It's a nice, easy way to move without needing to go through that and have extra code in there that I have to go through and explain. So here we can use it, or we can assign it just by grabbing that direction object. Click on it. Here, let's hit F over the scene view on it too. Or just double click on it and see it one more time. It's just this object. It's literally just a box. It's set up and positioned so that it's facing in the direction that I want movement to be in. So forward, or not that forward, but the there we go. that forward right there of it, the blue forward, is up, and then right is the red, and so on. So if I turn this, I can flip it around and controls are inverted. Let's turn that renderer back off. All right, let's go back to the player again. So here we had on the player, what else do we have? A rigid body and a capsule collider. Let's add those two to it. To say rigid body. And if we expand it out, I don't think that we had checked anything. I think I'd unchecked use gravity because I don't remember it was following, but let's double check that. Yeah, use gravity was unchecked. I think other than that, it was just left on its default. Then we have a capsule collider. So go back to the player again. Add a capsule collider. And I'm going to hit F over the scene view to zoom in on him. Oh, where's my player? Why don't I see the capsule collider? Oh, I don't see the capsule collider. It was that player. I'm just blind. I didn't see the capsule collider because it was collapsed. So expand it out. And now I'll see it. Let's collapse everything else so you can see that. The capsule collider here, I just need to move it up. So I'm going to drag the Y up here. Actually, just type in a 1 and put it at 1. And I'm going to set the height to 2. So he's 2 meters tall and centered right in the middle. All right, so now he's got a collider. I think the last thing he needs is the gun script so he can shoot. Expand that out. It just needs a reference to a bullet prefab. I'll set that up, and then I'm going to real quickly give an overview of what that gun script does. Actually, let's play. We'll run around, shoot, and then we'll worry about the gun script later. So I've got that set up. Let's get the bullet prefab. Let's see if I hit the search, go to assets, and oh, where'd it go? Oh, I can only find the scene one. That's not what I want. I want to find the one that's actually in the project view, which is in my prefab folder. Click on it and drag and assign. I'm going to save this off. I'm going to make both of these players into new prefabs too, because right now they're using prefabs that are referenced in the art pack that I grabbed. If I hit select, you see that it goes to my robot soldier prefabs folder. I don't want that. I want to make my own new prefabs off of these. I've added a lot and changed them, so I'm going to just drag them into the prefabs folder and make them both brand new original prefabs. All right, 2 brand new prefabs for our 2 players. And if I hit play right now, well, let's see. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to hit play. And everybody can just type in chat and guess what you think is going to happen the second I try to move. I want to see how many people guess it right. All right, I'm going to move, and look at that. So I move left and right on this guy, and the blue guy is moving too. I go up and down, the blue guy is moving too. And if I spin around, they both spin around together. Now the reason for this, well, there are 2 reasons. There's one reason that they're both moving, and one reason they're moving at different speeds. The reason they're both moving together is they're both set on player 1. If we look at the player number here, where's our player script? Player 1 is the number for player 2, and player 1 is the number for player 1 as well. So I got to change this to a 2, and now it'll be on its own controller. The reason it moved half the speed or way slower is just that the speed value here is set to 5 on our red player, and it was set to 1 on our blue player. I'm going to make the blue player move a little bit slower, make him move at a 4. Maybe I'll make these like different players, give one of them a special power or something. The other thing that's missing is the shoot point. Notice the error down here. I just saw it when I'm clicking through. Oh, I gotta probably fix that. So we need to assign the shoot point on the player too. So I'm gonna expand it out. We'll expand out the hip. So Alt and click just expands all the way, remember? And then scroll down, find the, oh, I don't have a shoot point under here. Let's create one. Let's add it. So if we expand out our player 1, you see that the shoot point is actually, what is it, a child of the right hand thumb. And if we go to it, we can, well, actually, here's the easiest way to do it. Watch this. I can duplicate this, drag it down here, and make it a child of that thumb. Come on, right hand thumb. Right, bam. Now it's a child of the thumb. Now, the important part is, right now it's way offset. So if I leave it like this, it's going to be way offset because this is from the blue player. So the position is, off by like 4.5 meters. So really, really far. They need to fix the offset. So just go back up here to player 1. I'm going to double click on the shoot point to select it. Right click on the transform and hit copy component. This is just going to copy the offset. And since the model is exactly the same, the offset's going to be exactly the same. Then I can double click on the character again. Oh, the player 2. Go find his shoot point. I didn't actually assign it. Oh, silly. So I've got him selected. I'm going to assign the shoot point, click and drag, and then I'm going to go paste in the values. So click on it, right click, and paste the component values. Now the offset is right down here at the base of the gun. I'm going to rename this to shoot point player 2, just so that it's more obvious what it is. Oh, whoops, I accidentally totally renamed that. Shoot point for player 2. Good. Okay, so save that off. And I'm going to go back and apply these 2 prefabs. I don't remember if I changed them both, but hit the back arrow a bunch of times and collapse these down and make sure that I've applied. So I hit overrides, apply all, to add that shoot point. And then we'll do the same here, overrides and apply all to just update our player script. All right. Oh, thanks for the super chat. All right, so now we will clear out the error. Let's hit play and see if I can move 2 players around independently. So player 1 moves with this one. and spins with this one. Looks good. Grab the other controller here. This player spins and moves. So, okay. Oh, wait. Almost moves. So it spins, moves. Yeah. So it's looking good. There are a couple really obvious issues, though. The fact that the bullets aren't shooting, and every time I let go, it just kind of like resets, and they seem to just snap back to that default 0 position or that default orientation. So let's adjust it real quick. Let's make it first so that they don't snap back to that orientation, and let's figure out why the bullets are not going in the direction that they're supposed to go. They're just sitting still. My guess is that they're not getting a proper direction and that they're moving at some speed of times 0, 0, 0 on the vector. All right, so let's see. For our aiming, if we look at our aim with controller part, here we set our transform forward to whatever vector we create using our horizontal and vertical. So that's just using these axes. If we're not pushing anything though, the magnitude of that or the value of both of those should be 0. And I think if it's 0, then we should just not turn them. So like if they're not pushing left, right, up or down, then we should probably not do any adjustment of the direction. Thing to say, if horizontal aim is not equal to 0 and vertical aim is not equal to 0, then we could do the transform for. Let's try that out. Now this might have issues with our controller if our controller sensitivity is off and we're getting numbers that are not exactly 0. So let's try it. Let's see. We click and we aim and you can see it's still that's a oh okay, our rotation is I see what's happening. So it is working, but our character's kind of spinning around. The reason he's spinning around, if I look at our rigid body, is that we're not actually freezing or locking the rotation. So he's just kind of rolling on his own. And before he wasn't doing that because we were setting the rotation every frame. So if I hit freeze rotation here and just lock his rotation down, then click over here again, I should see that he snaps and he just stops acting weird. So now he looks in the direction that I push and he doesn't do that weird rolling. So let's stop playing. Go check freeze on both of those players. So expand them, select them both, expand out the rigid bodies, and hit the freeze box on all of them. Thanks again for all the super chats, everybody. It was awesome. Like these streams are a lot of fun. Amazed that so many people like to follow along and join and have some cool input too. All right, so let's see. We've got our players set up. They should spin. Let's try it and make sure that I can actually spin in the right directions real quick. So I can spin, I release, and it doesn't keep spinning. And same with this character. Spin, release, and it doesn't seem to keep spinning. Looks good. And I can still move around, right? Yep. So now I can move and aim and shoot. But I need to fix these bullets because they're acting stupid and they're just sitting still. So let's go select player 1, the red one. Okay, right now got my 2 guns here. Just looking at these gun scripts. I got gun with a delay of 0.1 and a bullet speed of 13. And then this guy's got a 0.2 and a bullet speed of 5. But neither one of them's moving at all. So let's open up the, not the bullet prefab. I double clicked on it. Let's open up the gun script and take a look at how it works and why it's broken. So for anybody who didn't see the previous stream, you get a real quick intro to a pooling system, like a super fast pooling system to handle a single solution or a single problem here, and a real quick overview of how this thing works. So the gun set up right now just spawns bullets using a bullet prefab. The bullet, if I go to it, you see it just deals with collisions. If we hit something, we take some damage, and we also add ourselves back into the guns pool with this add to pool. So all this bullet does is keep a reference to a gun, and then when it hits something, it goes back into a pool. If it happened to hit an enemy, it also hurts the enemy. If it hits a wall or something, it goes back to the pool. It does also, however, fly off forever and never get re-added to the pool. So that's an addition or a fix that we could probably make later. But let's go back to the gun. So it has this bullet prefab. It's also got a delay variable for how fast it shoots. 0.2 is 5 bullets a second. And then how fast the bullets go. Right now it's set to 5. So that's 5 meters a second is the velocity that we're using. We got a next shoot time, a direction that I believe is unused. And that's probably the reason. We have a queue of pools, and a queue is essentially a collection, like a first in, first out collection where you put things in, and then you can see if there's anything in it and then take something out of it if there is something. And you can just ask it, and it'll give you the oldest thing that went into it is the first thing that you'll get back out every time you request the next thing from it. That's essentially like a collection or a list of bullets that we're saving up or reusing. Then we have a reference to our player in a wake. I think we actually saw when we did that. So in update, we check to see if we can shoot, and we do shoot. Can't shoot, just checks to see if our time is met. And then our shoot method checks to see, well, first it resets our shoot time so that we can't shoot again. So we use that. We use our current time plus our delay to be our next shoot time. So if we're like 10 seconds into the game, our next shoot time will be at 10 seconds or 10.2 seconds into the game. So we won't be able to shoot until we get to that time. Then we get a bullet from our pool or spawn a new one. Here it just checks if there's something in the pool, grab it. Otherwise, instantiate the thing, set its gun to this so that it knows how to get back into the pool and then return it. And then eventually it goes back into the pool with that re-add to pool. Add to pool just puts it in the pool. Very simple, very small pooling system that'll just handle this one little scenario we have. So then what else do? We get the bullet, we set the position, we set the rotation, and then we set the velocity using this direction, and that's the problem. The direction is never being set because we were using the mouse position to get that before. We're not anymore. So we can just replace this with transform.forward. That's going to be the direction that our character is facing towards. Seems good enough to me. If we go back into Unity, let's hit play and see if it works. Our bullets, I expect, are going to start flying forward. There we go. Bullets are flying out. I can move and aim. Bullets are flying out of the blue dude. And I can move and aim. He just kind of sucks because he shoots way, way, way slower. Let's speed up his bullets a little bit. Let's change these to be like, maybe he'll shoot, I don't know. I'll change it. I'll just make him like 15. I'll make him faster. His bullets to shoot fast and less frequent. I don't know why. Poor player 2 gets nerfed, right? All right, so we've got 2 players. Let's go turn on some spawners real quick. Get these guys spawning and then see what the next step is. So play, get in here, and I don't know how I'm gonna kill lots of bad guys with here. Just if I don't move and I just try to use the thumbsticks. This might work. Might have to get another player in here eventually. But you can see I can actually kill things and get points. But I think the next thing I want to do, well, there are 2 things. I want to fix the pooling issue where the bullets keep spawning and they just fly off forever. Let me show you what that looks like. The other thing that I want to do, though, is separate out the scores, because right now our score system only deals with 1 player. So I'm going to turn off the spawners. Just show you the bullet thing real quick. Take a drink and then see. You guys want to see the fix for the pooling real quick so that the bullets actually go away and don't live forever? Or should we go into separating out the scores so that each player gets their own score? We'll do both of them, but which one do you guys want to do first? Just gonna watch chat while I take drinks and see what the answer is. The pooling was the first answer. Cool. Okay, it looks like there's some requests for the pulling, and it's actually really simple. You saw all those bullets that were just spamming out and never going away because they don't hit anything. Actually, here, let me show it one more time, like up in detail while I'm not taking a drink and actually like actively showing it. So I hit play here, and if I aim up at a wall here, you see that like the number of bullets spawning here doesn't really go up. You can just look down here in the list, and whoops, now I started shooting out to the side and bullets started going up. But if I shoot here, they're all hitting something and getting reset. But if I shoot down this direction, that way I got to go a little bit further, where they just can keep going on and on forever. If I zoom out, you see that these bullets, they're not actually getting on forever. Hold on. Got to get them. If I get them aimed the right way, are they going to make it? Oh, so close. I promise I will get these bullets flying off the screen forever. There we go. So if I get them flying that way, you see that they'll just keep going on forever and ever and ever because they never actually hit anything. So there's nothing to reset them or knock them back into the pool. The solution for it is actually really, really simple. We just go into our bullet, and just when we enable our bullet, we can just set a timer to re-add ourselves to the pool. So we can just set a maximum lifetime or something. To do that, just go up here, add a serialized field, make it like a float, make it max lifetime. I'll give it a value of like 10. Maybe it go on for 10 seconds. That seems like a long lifetime, but it's fine. It's not going to be. I'm not going to end up with too many bullets, I don't think. Now I'll go down here and we'll just add in and on enable. So right below my on collision enter, I'll say on enable, and I'll get rid of that private keyword, and I'll paste in my max. Oh wait, what do I want to do here? Let me think for just a second. I'm going to start a coroutine. Oh wait, no, hold on. I'm thinking for a moment. Am I doing anything in update? No, I'm not. So I'll start a coroutine. No, I won't start a coroutine. I don't want to disable this. I don't want to kick off a coroutine for every bullet. So instead, I will say that enable time equals time.time. I'll add a field for it, and I'll turn it into an expression body method. So when it gets enabled, I'll set the time that it got enabled. Then I'll just add an update, and I'll say if time.time is greater than, oh, actually, let's call it disable time. I'll rename enable time to disable time. And then I'll make it equal to time.time plus the max lifetime. That way it will disable at that time, and I don't have to do the calculation every frame. So if time.time is greater than or equal to disable time, gameObject.setActive to false. There we go. And delete out the private keyword. That should fix it. I don't think I need anything else. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that private keyword there. Save it off, go back into Unity, hit play. And I expect that my bullets should now, well, no longer live on for infinity. Yeah. Let's see. So I keep shooting, let it go out, and let's watch the bullets. I'll just go find a bullet. If we watch them, they should start to disable wherever that 10-second mark is. Yeah, I guess it's right about here. That's how long they live for 10 seconds. Then they go back into the pool. Oh, thanks again for the super chat. All right, let's stop playing now that we've got the pooling fixed up. Let me think. Could add in, I want to add in some super weapons. I want to set up the high scores or the scores so that they work with multiple players. What other things do I want to get in real quick? A couple other simple features that I want to get going. So let's see. Let me think. What am I gonna do? Give it just a second. Try to decide. So let's see. A new super weapon could be cool to like. Let's make scores first, so that I can give the players power ups, and they could like pick up a weapon and do something cool. And then you actually see like there'd be a reason to be the one that want to get the power up. I think having the scores there is gonna be more exciting part for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. All right, let's go try it out. Let's go expand out the canvas where we have our high score system set up and take a look at it. So our high score system right now is actually set up on the canvas, or our entire score system is just a single script on the canvas because the score system is not very complicated. We're not doing much with it. It doesn't really need to be anymore. If we were doing multiple levels, like I mentioned before, I'd probably do something slightly more advanced. But right now I got a single level and the score system kind of handles everything. So right now the score system keeps track of a number of points. We can have a single score system, and it's really just a we have a high score and then a number of points total. Like we don't have a score system per player. So we need to decide how to do this. It can either add in a score system that keeps track of the score for multiple players. It can add in a score component on a player that like keeps track of that player's score. Or I don't know. Could just make this score system, yeah, handle them both. Let me think. So what do I want to do here? First, I want to get rid of this private keyword because it doesn't take any thinking, and I can just click the keys a couple times without trying to figure out what I want to do. And then we'll go through and actually do it. So score system. I know I'm gonna need another text object. I think I'm only ever going to 2 players right now, so I don't think I'm gonna overcomplicate it and make it at a player level. I'll probably just expand this to go to 2 players. I think if I was gonna go to like 4 players or 6 or something else, make it more advanced, I would probably split it out a little more. But I'm thinking that I just want to handle score for 2 players. So I might make this an int array, or I can make it like player 1 points. Play. I'm gonna make it an int array. So it's going to be an array of integers of points, and I'll set it to equal to a new int array of 2. So I get 2 integers for player 1 points, player 2 points. And then here I'll pass in, instead when we do add points, I'll say points and do a int player number, and then we can just add in for the player number. So, oops, copy that out and paste it. So what we're doing here is turning the player or the points from a single integer into an array of integers, and then accessing the one for the player number to increment. So we'll have a points 0, which would be like the first player, and a points 1, which would be the second. Oh, I don't really like. I'm gonna change this instead of it being a. Oh man, I'm gonna make it 2 ints. As much as I don't like it, I don't like having an offset integer either. So I'm gonna make it points. Let's call it player 1 point. Actually, I'm just gonna call it player one, int player one, and int player two, and I'll just use those for now. I think that that's gonna be. It's not perfect, but only because I only have two. I'm thinking, oh, man, it is so hard to okay, let's change it. We are going to. Man, it's tough. I think I want to do a dictionary keyed by player. No, I'm gonna keep it simple as much as I'm fighting myself to do it. So on enable, we'll set the. I'm just gonna make a player one text and a player two text. I'm not gonna overcomplicate this. Player two text and a player one. It's so hard to resist the urge to make it more extensible, but I think it's a good habit to show because if I go in and over build this, I could spend like the next 40 minutes building out a score system that does exactly the same thing. It's slightly less performant and a little bit harder to understand. I don't think I need to do that. So I'm just gonna make player one, and then I'll copy that and paste it. So we'll just set player one text to player one's points and player two text to player two's points in on enable. And then we'll do it when we do our add points. I'll just look at what this player number is. If it's one, we'll do one. If it's two, we'll do two. And call it simple. I don't, again, if we're doing more players, it would make sense to extend it out. But really, like, it would just be it'd be an over-engineered waste of time, just to show that I know how to use a dictionary. So I'm gonna not do it. All right. So add points. So if player number is equal to 1, then we'll say point or player 1 plus equals points. And then we'll say else player 2 plus equals points. I didn't put 2 there, but the idea that should be a 2. And then I'm going to take this part right here that says updates this text. I'm going to take all of this code, hit Alt Enter, extract it, and say update text. I'm just going to make a single method that updates the text. So I don't have so much code in here. Take that call to update text, and I'm just going to replace all of this right there. And then we'll say, hey, if, oh, wait, but I need to figure out what the total points is. So here I'll say if player 1 is greater than high score, then high score is player 1. And then we'll just do the same. I really don't like having to do it in there twice. I'm not setting the text. Oh, let me think this through. Okay, I'm going to take this bit of the text, so I don't set it twice. I'm going to cut it out of here and paste it here. So we'll only update. I'm going to update both of this. I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to be lazy, I'm going to be all the way lazy. So I'm just going to call update text every time we change anything here. So we'll do update text. We don't need to do the set text here. And we do need to do the high score part. So we'll say if it's that here. I'm going to write out the code and then I'll talk it through. So if player 1's score gets greater than the high score, then we'll do that. I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it and zoom it. Okay, so we'll add points. We'll add in some number of points for our player number. If the number is 1, we'll add it to player number 1. And if he's higher than the high score, we'll set that to the high score. And I'm just going to I'm going to copy this and paste it for player 2. And then we're going to delete out all the rest. So we replace that with a 2 and a 2 and a 2. And I really hate having 2 variables with player numbers, but I honestly feel like I'd be overcomplicating it if I optimize this anymore right now. All right, and then we'll just set the high score to whatever our high score is every time. Oh, every time we add points. This is such a struggle. Like, I feel like I'm writing a bunch of code that I just want to, I struggle to not delete. Right? But it's okay. As long as it works and it's readable and understandable, I think that's the most important part. All right, let's fix up our formatting real quick here. I think I got an extra brace here. And then we'll zoom out and take a real look at it and explain it again one last time. So we'll add points. If it's player 1, we use player 1's value and set the high score updated if the player 1's new score is higher than the high score. Otherwise, we'll do it for player 2. And no matter what, we'll update the text for everything. Just being lazy on it and doing wide updates for everything. But right now, add points has an issue because if I look at add points, the call to it right here is right here, and we don't have a player number. So I need to fix this call to it, and then I'm going to need to fix this call and actually say which player number should be getting the points when we call add points. Right now, our system should be able to handle it. We should be able to set up points for a player 1 and a player 2. And if I was going to 3, I would totally change this. But with 2, we have enough that it'll work. We just need to actually make the add points work. So copy out this parameter. I'm going to paste it right here into the public static one. And you'll see why this is public static in just a second. and then we'll paste in the player number here. So we're in our public static version of add. Notice this one's not public and static because it's the way that we're wrapping up the singleton instance of our score system. But in this one, now we're adding the player number. If I hit Control Shift B, I expect a build error. There we go. And double click on it. It's in the enemy script right here on line 40. And it's our score system.add call to point value. So when we take damage from something, we need to know what player is dealing the damage to us. Right now, we don't have any way to tell. We need to be able to pass that player into the score system. So we're going to have to pass in a player number here. But we don't have a player number, so we're going to need to figure out how to get a player number into take damage. Let's look at where take damage is called from. If I hit Shift F12, I can find references. That didn't work. That's weird. I can click on this button too and just find them. Here you can see an enemy take damage on the bullet. We pass in the point that we hit so we could play a particle effect there. But we also need to give it our player number. We still don't have our player number. So let's give it our player number here. We'll pass it in on take damage. Let's go take damage and make it a parameter first. So copy player number. We'll make it the second parameter, int player number. And this only has one reference, so I only need to fix the one spot that's calling it. Go to that spot, and we'll pass in our player number here. Oh, but look, we also don't have our player number here. So we need to get it from something else. So where could we get it from? Well, our gun, I guess, technically has our player number, right? Our gun is on the same object as our player. So we could probably just get it from our gun. Yeah, we could just get it from our gun, right? When we shoot it off, we could get it and re-grab it. So let's assign it. Well, actually, hold on. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let's go look at how we set our gun. So when do we set the gun? Set gun happens whenever we get a bullet and we instantiate it the first time. This is going to be an issue. Let's take a look at why it's going to be an issue. But let's set it up first and then see the issue, make it happen, and then fix it. All right, so here we set our gun, and let's say that we wanted to just get the player number on collision enter. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna not cache it right now. We'll just get it on collision enter. So we'll add in some braces here. I'm gonna say int player number equals gun dot get component player dot player. Oh, I don't have player number exposed yet. Player number. So let's go expose player number on there. And to do that, I just hit F12. I hit Alt Enter to generate the property, then hit F12 to go to it. And then I'm going to go just delete this chunk of code, make an expression body property, and make it return back player number. Then just exposing it so I can read it from that script. Let's see if that fixes the problem now. I should be able to get the player number and make the thing take damage. And I think this is going to work, but there's definitely going to be a bug. And I think it's a bug that's worth showing because it's the kind of thing that catch people off guard. All right, so, I'm going to enable a spawner, and I'm going to actually go set up the canvas now so that we can see our text objects. So let's go to 2D mode in the scene view. I'm going to go to the score and hit F. There we go. And now we can see this is the score object right here. Or the one in the middle is the score. And the one on the top right is the high score. I'm going to change this up. I'm going to make the score be on the left for player 1 and the right for player 2. Then I'll just put the high score like up in the middle somewhere small. So I'm going to name this score 1. And then we'll align it to the left. So expand out the text mesh pro field and hit the left alignment. Duplicate it and make a score 2. Control D or Command D to duplicate it, by the way. And then align that to the right. Now I've got 2 score objects. I'm going to shrink the font size. So select them both. Turn this down to I'm going to go with like a 100. Something that's a little bit more reasonable. I'm going to take the high score and I'm going to move that to the center. And I'm going to shrink this down even more to like a 60. Something that's a little bit smaller. So I got score 1 and 2. Go to the canvas and we'll assign player 1 text to score 1 and player 2's text to score 2. Save and hit play. Let's see. So now I've got 2 score objects. I've got 1 player. Let's see if he kills something, if he gets points. So he gets points. He gets points. He gets points. He gets points. Looking good so far. I'm going to kill these guys. I'm going to pause it. Enable player 2. Unpause it. And let's see if I can keep killing these guys. And what I want to do is get player 2 shooting at them and not player 1. So player 2, here, actually, I'm going to crank up player 2's fire rate a lot. Player 2 is going to shoot super fast. 0.05. That's what I want. Bam. So he's got a nice, strong spray. And then player 1 will go this way. Now watch player 1's score. Oh, wait, actually, you might not see it now because it. Okay, I messed it up. Let's try this again. I'm going to stop playing. I'm going to redo it and show you the actual problem. So I've got player 1 here. I'm going to let him come in. I'm going to let him shoot a bunch of bullets real quick. Bam, 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 bam. He shoots, pause. And then I'm going to go enable player 2 and disable player 1. Oh, actually, you know what? My bullets didn't pool. Hold on. I keep doing this wrong. What I need to do is get my bullets to go back into the pool. I need to stop the spawner. I think it's causing me stress of these robots trying to kill me. Overwhelming me. All right. So let's see. So I shoot and bam, bam, bam. All the bullets are going in and they're getting pulled, right? Now we should see bullets getting pulled. And I'm going to pause, go enable player 2 and disable player 1. Now I play and I got this other player here, but look at the bullets. I should see the same bullets getting used. Here we go. Look through them. Are they? Oh, they're not getting reused. Oh, I was wrong. I was thinking that they were going to get re-added to my gun, but it actually makes sense. They're actually getting assigned by the player. I was totally wrong, and I thought I had an issue that I don't have. So this actually is gonna work just fine, isn't it? Let's save. Let's go. I'm just gonna go blow up a bunch of guys and see if it works or not. Hold on a second. All right, sorry, just had to clean that up real quick. All right, now let's go actually test out the score. All that nonsense was me thinking that my thing wasn't working, and it actually is. So now if I hit play, get both of my guys in here, I'm gonna aim them around. I'm gonna get them kind of lined up the right way. I'm gonna turn that spawner on again and see if I actually start getting bad guys and getting points for both my characters. I expect that player 1 and player 2 should both be able to get points now. Let's see. Player 2 getting points. Yep, player 1 gets points and player 2 gets points. The scores are independent. All right, let's see. Okay. I want to make it so I can reset my high score though real quick so that I can actually do a little bit of competition here and have a new high score where I don't have to go so freaking high. So I'm going to add in a button. Actually, let's make the high score object here into a button real quick so I can just click on it. To do that, I'm going to take the left score. I'm going to shrink it down so that it doesn't go all the way across the screen. And actually, let's just anchor it to top left here like that. Take the right one, and I'm going to anchor it to the top right here and shrink it down too so it doesn't take up the whole screen. Then I'll select this one right here. Let's just add like a button to it. I'm going to center it here in the top and the middle. And yes, right now every gun has its own pool. So somebody's asking in chat, the reason that every gun has its own pool, it's not really intentional. It's just kind of a side effect of the way that it was coded initially for one thing. When we start up a bullet, we assign it to a gun, and then when a gun looks for an object, it only looks for objects that are assigned to it. I was thinking that we were having a reusable pool where I was going to need to reset that player number. I really don't. So we're just reusing them for the bullet, and it's probably fine for that case, to be honest, because it's always going to fill up to the maximum size that 2 players could shoot out. So it won't be a big deal. I think that'll actually work. Now I want to set this up to be a button though, this high score object, or make it so that we can just click on it. So I don't know, should make it a button or just make it a click thing? I think kind of up in the air. I think I'm just gonna make a little button for it. I was thinking about just making it clickable, but I think I'll just make a little button. So I'll go right click, make a button, a UI text mesh pro button. I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it right up here. Make it really, really tiny. And then remove the text, or let's just replace the text. So I'll replace the text with a 0. This is just going to be my 0 out button. It's just going to reset the high score. So I need this reset high score, the reset high score button, and then I just need to assign it or an on-click reference to actually do the resetting. So I'll hit the plus on click, assign my canvas, and then if I click here, I should see my score system, but there's no real reset method. So I'll just go to the score system and add one real quick. So go to let's just go into Visual Studio, go to the score system. Let's hit or make a reset high score. So I'm going to go right up to the top, say public void reset high score. And then here we just need to set our high score to 0 and then set the player pref for it. So I'll copy this line right here where we actually set our high score, paste it right up here. We'll set it to 0 and save. That should be enough. Now I need to go back into Unity and actually hook up that button, or the method to the button. So we've got the canvas here. If I go back to score system again, I should see a reset high score. There it is. And I save my scene, hit play. Oh, you know what? I want to actually make it update the UI element too. Over here, let's hit play. Oh, yeah, let's hit play. You see that it doesn't actually update the UI element when I kill him. But if I stop playing and play again, it's going to reset it. Or no, when I hit the button. But if I just go here, let's get a new high score again real quick, and then I'll make it so that it resets when we actually hit the button. Just blow it up. Bam! It blew up. Okay, so now I should have a new high score of 700. Play. Let's see it again. Okay, got a high score. Let's go reset it in the or reset the text real quick. So go to score system. When we reset the high score, go bam, update. Save it off. Go back into Unity again. Hit play. Now I should be able to just reset that high score on demand. Play. And clear it out. Bam. Now it clears out. So somebody was asking about Text Mesh Pro. Oh, about whether or not they'll make the normal text. I was always wondering if they were going to make Text Mesh Pro the default or something, but I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it happens, but there may be some technical reasons that it hasn't happened yet. For anybody who's not familiar with it, though, it's an asset pack for Unity. It used to be an asset pack. Now it's a package in the package manager. It allows you to just do prettier text. So you can do nicer looking text. I think it generally is more performant, and it runs better on things on a bunch of devices. But it also lets you do a lot of other things that the default text won't do. By default, it comes with a lot of cool fonts and a lot of different options here. So you can set up this glow or these. I don't know what the logo one's for. Outlines. There's a bunch of different options here for adjusting it. And right now I'm on the mobile version of it. If you change it off of that from Text Mesh Pro Mobile to Text Mesh Pro Distance Field, you see that you start to get other options too. There's underlay options, lighting options. You can animate it, make it bend and curve, and do all kinds of stuff. In fact, I think if I just select this and type where is it? Where's the high score text? There it is. Curved. Oh, maybe I don't have it in here yet. So if you look at the Text Mesh Pro, okay, it's not in here. There's a package that comes with it though when you import it. There's an extras and there's like a curve effect and a whole bunch of other really cool effects you can just drop in there and they just kind of work and it looks nice. Makes your stuff look nicer and it's easy. All right. So let's see. We've got multiple score systems set up. Got multiple players set up and moving around. I do want to get them onto the arcade cabinet soon, but I'll probably have to go offline to do that because I got cameras and stuff. It doesn't really aim over there or anything, and you wouldn't be able to hear me. I'd be over there, and nobody would hear a word. I got this mic set up now to, yeah, you can kind of see it hanging here, but it's not actually hooked up or plugged in yet. So I'll get that set up sometime and be able to go onto the cabinet. But for now, let's see what else. I feel like I need to add in. I want to add in some new feature, something else in here to do something. Maybe like a special attack or like a bomb or something. But yeah, I want to do that. Like let me see. Let me come up with two different ideas. I'm thinking like maybe a bomb that we can shoot out, like the players could pick up, like it's a special thing that they get, and maybe they could just maybe like a special attack you could use every now and then, hit a button and it shoots out a bomb. Or we could do a power up that speeds up the attack speed. So I'll go with one of those two. Either a power up that you pick up that speeds up your attack speed, or a special attack that you can just hit a button and it shoots out a bomb, and then maybe hit it again and it explodes. So which one do you guys want to see? Like a bomb type thing or a power up where you get something better? Go ahead and just type in chat. Let me know what you guys prefer, and then I'll go from there. Take another drink and think about it for a second and just figure out exactly how I'm going to code up the system once there's a vote. Oh, a time bomb. That could be interesting too. Like when you just drop and then it blows up after a couple seconds and then damages everybody around. That could be really cool. It'd actually be a fun one. I'll do that. Let's try the bomb one first. I'll make it so I don't know. I guess you know what I'll do. I'll make it so that you can just drop it and then it'll blow up. But if you want it to fly forward, you literally just add the code to set the velocity on the rigid body, so it won't be any different, right? All right, so let's do that. We want to make a bomb. I need something to blow up. So that means I'm not gonna get an asset for it first. I'll just use a red sphere or something. That'll be my bomb. It'll be like my little kaboom. All right, we'll go into 3D mode. Go to our bullet here. and I'm going to create a new object. So go game object, 3D object, and we'll make a sphere. I'll hit Control Shift F to move it to me. And I'm gonna make this thing. Oh, actually, it's already relatively big, so I'll just leave it full size right now. Go into our art folder. Do I have an art folder? Let me see. I do not have an art folder, so I'm gonna make an art folder so I can make a material. My beautiful material skills. So I'll say art. Go in there. I'll hit enter and right click create, and we'll make a material. Where's material? This list is so huge. Cool though. There's lots of stuff, I guess. I'll call it red. Actually, I'm gonna call it bomb. Maybe I'll actually make a bomb material later. Also, if somebody has a cool bomb that they think I should use, that there's an FBX I can just grab or download or something off the asset store, feel free to post it in chat or something, and maybe I'll just switch to it after or as we go along. So I got the material here, set it to red, and I'll assign it. All right, so let's go to the inspector for our bomb again. I've got the material selected, so select the sphere right now, name it to bomb, and then let's see, what do I need to add to it? I want a trigger. Do I want a collider? What do I want? I think I want a collider. I have a collider. I'm gonna add a rigid body too. I kind of feel like it should just maybe go rolling out, like just kind of roll it forward. All right, so we'll say that. And I don't have an art folder, by the way, because I just imported asset packs for this one. So I didn't actually drag them into an art folder like I probably should have. All right, so I've got a ball here that's ready to roll. If I hit play, it should just kind of drop down. And I think I probably could just go like knocking around, right? Let's see. Bam. Yep, I can walk over it, kind of push it. Oh, actually, I can't really push it, but I could walk over it. It fell into the hole there. I've got my bomb here, and now I want to make it blow up. So let's add in a script to make it actually do a countdown, do some timer, maybe do a little bit of flashing, and then blow up. So we'll go into scripts, right click, create a new one, new C# script, and call it bomb. And then let's see. So for a bomb, I want a couple things. I want a radius for how wide out it should blow things up, a time for how long it should go for, and maybe anything else. Like I guess like a damage amount, right? I think the first thing is the amount of time. So I'm gonna do this. I think in the start, we'll just kick off a coroutine and wait and see. So let's add a serialized field for the explosion time, or let's call it countdown time. And I'll default it to 5 seconds. I'm going to change start to be an IE. Oh, I need to make this a float. Got to give it a type there. So and change this to IE numerator so that I can actually yield return in my start method. If you haven't done that before, it's a way to avoid having to create a coroutine and still do coroutine like things in start. Your start method will essentially run like a coroutine if you make it return IE numerator instead of void. So I say yield return new, wait 4 seconds, countdown time, and then let's say game object dot set active to false. That's essentially what it's gonna do, right? It's gonna do a countdown. It's gonna do some damage here. So maybe right here, I'll do damage, and then it's gonna set itself to inactive, or even just destroy itself. In fact, I would just say destroy game object. I might not need to pull these if I'm not gonna do a whole bunch of bombs or anything, or maybe I could add them to a pool later. But for now, let's just make this thing a bomb that explodes. So this will make it wait for some countdown time. But I said I kind of want it to flash and like give a countdown timer. So I think what I want to do is add a text object up above it. So maybe there's like some little text floating above it or something. Or maybe just tint the color. Maybe, let's start by just flashing the color real quick. So we'll go back into the bomb. And instead of waiting, here, actually, let's hit play and make sure that it works, right? Added code. It's always good to make sure that our code actually does what we were saying it does. So I'll go in here, add in my bomb script, hit play. I expect the bomb to just disappear in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam, there we go. It's gone. All right. So that is working. Now I'm going to make it do like a countdown though, so that it doesn't just disappear instantly, so that it disappears in like flashes or something. So we'll say instead of waiting until the countdown time is done, let's say that well, let's make it disable time or destroy time or explode time. Explode time equals time.time plus countdown time. And this might look a little bit familiar, right? I'll generate a field for it, and we'll delete the private keyword by hitting enter. We got an explode time. That'll be the time that we want to blow up at. And then we'll say while time.time is less than the explode time, we'll do some loop. And then in the loop, well, we won't wait for the entire countdown time. We'll just wait for a frame. So do yield return null, and then maybe do like some sort of a flash, right, on our material. So say like get component renderer dot material dot color equals new color, whatever that new color is going to be for the frame. So the new color could be, I'm going to make that lowercase. I'll make a color new color equals new color, and here we'll just give it like red, but with some random red value. Here I'm just gonna make it randomly flash some weird red. It's not gonna look beautiful or anything, so don't get excited thinking it's gonna look great. Somebody's asking why I removed the private keyword. Just because it's redundant and I don't need it. I used to leave it there all the time so things would line up. Then I realized that it just made it so there was more words to read, and getting rid of it helped. So let's make the color, the R part of it, the red, be the random number. So say random red, and then 0 for the green and 0 for the blue. Now I'll make a random red float by saying float random red equals random dot range, and we'll go from 0 to, and I think that color uses 0 to 1, or is it 0 to 255? Okay, it's 0 to 1. I get them mixed up sometimes, so you look. You put the mouse over it, you see that it says it constructs a new color. Hopefully you can see that off. Let me scroll down. With RGB components and sets A to 1. 1 just tells me, oh yeah, these are 0 to 1. But I always get them mixed up there. So if you're thinking 0 to 255, that's not it. All right, so that should give me a random color. It's going to get the renderer every frame. Probably a bad idea, but whatever. I'm not worried about it. It's a single bomb, and it doesn't matter at all. Let's hit play. So I got a bomb there, and it set itself to solid black. Oh, okay, so maybe I was wrong there. Maybe the value wasn't 1. It was 255. Let's try that again. Let's see, RGB. Like I said, I get them mixed up all the time, and then sometimes I look at the tooltip and get myself mixed up. There we go. That's better. Now it's setting to random redness values. You can hardly tell though. I think it looks really ugly. In fact, you know what? Forget about the random redness. Let's do an animation on it. Let's create an animation for how it's going to look. Yeah, I think that's better. I'm going to go in here, go to animation folder. We'll go to the animation window, and animation. I'm terrible at making things look pretty, but that was too ugly for me. All right, then we'll hit create and make an animation for our bomb. This is save off in the animation folder. I'm going to call it bomb blink. And then we'll start recording. So hit the record button here. And what I can do is just adjust the colors of the material right here. So I can start it off so that maybe the bomb starts off kind of like, maybe I'll even start it off like black, right? Like start off like black with like tiny tint of red. And then we'll go over to like the 1 second mark, and I'll leave it black. So I'll go like just a tiny little bit lighter here, tiny little bit less red. So it's going to slightly get a little red. And then I'm going to zoom out here. So there's this mouse wheel to zoom out. And then I'll go over to like the 2 second mark, and let's make this, actually, no, let's go to like the 1 point, really close time. Thanks for super chat, by the way. Oh, looks like somebody's got, Miranda found a cool bomb model too. Maybe I'll check that out after this. Get this set up. So I'm going to change this to like a bright red here. So here, let me drag through so you see it's like dark, and then it goes to, oh, that's a bright white. That's not a red. Let's change that to a bright red. So click on the keyframe here, click here, and change this to red. Then I'll go over to here and maybe go like back to a black. So I can just copy this color here, copy and paste, and then copy and paste again. Now if I hit play or stop recording, hit play, I should see it go like a black, and then it does a little flash. I think that flash is probably too fast. I'm going to stop playing, and I'm going to go clean up these keyframes again. So let's see. If I go here, oh, that's a bright white. That's why I messed up that keyframe. I added in another one instead of modifying it. All right, so there we go. Red, black. And then this should go back to red on this keyframe, and then back to black. So what I'm going to do now, I've got this little repeating pattern here of this red, black. Is it even repeating? Is it? Oh, I'm not recording. Sorry. So if you watch that and you're like, hey, Jason hit the record button. Sorry, I didn't hit it there. It's this button right here. The reason it wasn't changing is I'm not changing the recording here. I'm changing the actual button, the model, or the material on the placed one. I need to hit record, go into record mode, then click on the keyframes that I want to change. There we go. And then change them. So here we go. I'm in record mode. Change that keyframe to red. That looks better. Now I got a black one, a red one, a black one, and then we'll click on this one again and make it red. And then what I can do is just copy and paste these and drag them and kind of expand them out. So I've got these keyframes here. I'll copy them, and then I'll click over here and paste. click again, paste. And let's just hit play and see what they look like real quick, and then see if I want to slow it down a little. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. I might actually here. Let's copy these a little bit more. I'm gonna copy them so that it goes all the way out to like this 5-second mark, right? So paste it, and then I'm gonna select them all. And what I can do is just expand this out just by clicking and dragging right there. And then I think I'll probably just delete out a couple of the keyframes in here, a couple of the beginning ones, so that it doesn't start as fast and then it slowly kind of picks up. All right, hit play again. There we go. Now it's an animation that at least kind of looks a little bit better. Let me get rid of a couple more keyframes in here. So stop playing, hit record again, go back in, and just grab a couple more of these out of here. A couple more of these pairs. But it feels like it's slowing down a little bit. Okay, I think that's probably good. I'm going to save that off, and then let's make the animation actually play. So I had to uncheck record, and then we'll go into the animator section, and we've got this bomb controller that was automatically added. So when we added an animation, it added an animator and it added a controller. If I double click on it, you see that it's actually got the bomb blink already playing automatically. That's the default animation here. So whenever this thing spawns, it's going to auto play that animation. To be honest, that's actually totally fine, and I don't need to add any extra code, right? I just need to make sure that my timing here now matches with my animation. This is one downside to putting it into the animation. If I want to make it scalable and adjustable, I'm going to need to do something with that animation probably. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it around 5 and call it good. Somebody's asking about doing some tweens or something else for it too. You could definitely do that for the flashing. Again, I'm just terrible at making like really pretty things, especially doing them from code. So if you're showing an animation, showing how to do it in animation, let people who are not able to do it in code be able to kind of go through and figure out a way to make it look nice, and maybe set up a bomb that does ticking or spinning or other cool stuff. You can even animate some text or other things that you want to do there. All right, so we got the bomb. It should blink. Now I'm going to set it up so that I can drop the bomb. Right now, we don't have any type of a fire button or any way to like shoot something. What I want to do is just make it so the player can just drop a bomb. And, if I think I'm just going to make it roll forward. So actually like use physics that'll roll forward. And then after the time when it finishes, it'll blow up and kill everybody. So let's make the player be able to drop them before they would worry about them blowing things up. So I'm going to go into here. Let's see. Enable the animator because I don't know why that was turned off. I'll save my scene. Let's go to the project view. Let's go turn our bomb into a prefab real quick. So take the bomb, drop it into the prefabs folder, and then let's go make our player able to shoot a bomb. So I'm going to go into the, do I want to do this as a new script or do I want to do it in the player? I am going to need the player number to read a button. Outside of that, I don't know if I'm going to need anything else. I feel like I'm going to make it a bomb dropper script. So that way I could adjust it. That way I can make it somewhat separate and not have it be directly tied to the player. Vary it a little bit. Maybe it could turn into a power up or something else. So let's say we'll create a new script and just call it bomb dropper. So create C# script bomb dropper. And then we'll add it to both the players. So I'm just going to select them both before I forget. Add it to both of them. And then double click on it to open up the script. So the bomb dropper script is going to need a reference to the bomb that it spawns. So I'll add a serialized field of type bomb and give it the bomb prefab name. And then we need to, I guess, just check in our update if we've pressed the bomb drop button for that player and if we should drop a bomb. So we'll go in here and we'll say, let's get rid of start, get rid of this comment on the update. Say if should drop bomb, then drop bomb. Pretty simple. We'll generate the methods for it. Generate should drop bomb and drop bomb. Should drop bomb should just return back, I guess, whether or not, for now we'll just use a timer just like we do with the gun. So we'll return back whether or not the current time is greater than our next drop time. So say return time.time greater than or equal to next drop time. Generate a field for our next drop time. Hit F12 and go to it. And I'm going to delete out that private keyword real quick. And then we'll set up our drop bomb. So dropping the bomb, we need to do two things. First, we need to set our drop time to our next drop time to whenever we want to fire again. So that way, if we have a problem with our bomb dropping, we try to drop a bomb out there and there's an error or something, the number gets reset and we don't keep calling it every time, or the next time gets reset. We'll say next drop time equals time.time plus our delay. So let's say underscore delay. And then we'll generate a field for delay and hit F12 and go to it. replace the private with serialized field so we can modify it in the inspector and move it up here. I'm going to give it a default value of like 5. I don't think that we should be dropping bombs often. 5 is probably way too fast, but to start off with our testing, I think it seems like a decent number. All right, next, when we drop a bomb, we want to spawn the prefab at our position, and then I guess just roll it in our forward position. So I'll say instantiate our bomb prefab at our transform.position and our transform.rotation, and then we'll get the rigid body component of that thing and just kind of push it forward. In fact, let's make the bomb is already using a type of bomb, so say bomb equals that, and then we'll say var rigid body equals bomb.get component rigid body. And then if the rigid body is not null, so if we didn't forget to add it, is not equal to null, then we'll say rigid body dot velocity equals, and I'm going to use our forward vector and then just like some launch force. So I'll say transform dot forward times release speed or release velocity. And hit Alt Enter and generate a field for it. F12 to go to it. Replace the private with serialize field and make the vector 3 a float. Give it a default value of, I'm going to go like 3 meters a second seems fast enough, and I'll move it up there to the top. Delete out these using statements and this extra space. Get rid of the drop bomb keyword or the private keyword on drop bomb. And I think that's good. So this should allow me to drop a bomb out every 5 seconds and push it forward if it has a rigid body. Let's go try it out. So go and do, oh, wait, I lied. Because right now it's just going to, I didn't lie. It's going to constantly drop out bombs. It's not reading input. Let's try it out though. See if my guy can just drop out bombs nonstop. So he's got a bomb dropper here. I've got it on both of them. Let's go to the prefabs folder. I actually have both players selected. And I'm just going to take the bomb and assign it as the bomb prefab. Save, hit play. And let's watch as player 1 just starts dropping out bombs. Is he dropping out bombs? Oh, wait. Oh, there's an error. What's the... Oh, there you go. Got a bomb there. It drops out and starts flashing. And a bomb there drops out, starts flashing. And so the bombs are dropping out and they're working. Now, one thing I want to do is I'm going to spawn it maybe like a little bit ahead. Oh, it looks like I spelled release wrong. I think I want to spawn it just a little bit in front of me and make the release speed much faster. Let's make it like a 10 on the release velocity. Let's see. So I move around and there we go. The bomb just kind of goes flying out. That looks a little bit better. But I want to, again, fix that position. And I also want to make it so that it only fires when I hit a button. So let's go check that out. We'll go back to our bomb dropper. Let's make it so it only fires or only drops a bomb when we press the bomb drop button. So the first thing we want to do is we'll check in our should drop bomb that our time is valid, because if it's not time to shoot, we don't care about the input. So we'll say if our time is greater than that, greater than our next drop time, so it's time to shoot, and our input dot get button down for, let's see, get button down for, and I'm going to call it bomb 1. So if bomb 1 is pressed, then we'll return true. Otherwise, we'll return false. So now we're checking our time, and then we're checking to see if we've pressed the bomb 1 button. There isn't a bomb 1 button yet, so we'll go set it up, and then we'll make it, well, actually, let's make it versatile now so that it works for player 1 and 2. So instead of bomb 1, we'll make it bomb plus player number. Or say player.player number, because I already exposed player number. We'll just add the player up here in our awake, which we don't have, so just add an awake. And we'll say player equals get component player, because this is also just another component on our player class. Delete that private keyword, and I'm going to turn it into an expression body method. Generate a field for the player, just like that, and delete out that private keyword and save. Then I think that's it. So that should allow me to control whether or not I press the bomb button, or only fire when I press the bomb button. But I need to hook up those inputs again. So let's go back into our input manager. We'll go to edit and then project settings and input. And then in here, we're just going to set up a bomb 1 and a bomb 2. I'm going to show you how we set up buttons for the controller. So right now we have a fire 1 down here. And if you look at it, it has fire 1 is the name of it. And it's got joystick button 0 set up. So this is kind of the default. I think it's a square on this controller. And there's also a fire 1 up here. If I expand it out for the keyboard, that's the left click mouse 0 or left control. This is the other way to fire. So right now I could fire with this button, but that's not what I want. I don't want to use fire 1. I want to use something similar though, so that I can control a bomb for player 1 and for player 2. So I'm actually going to just, let's duplicate out fire 3. So I'll duplicate the fire 3 element. I'll rename it to bomb 1 with no spaces. I almost put a space there. Now it's bomb 1, no spaces. And look how it says joystick button 2. That is, I think it's going to be the circle button, but I'm not completely sure. And right now it's set up to read from all axes, and it's a little bit deceiving. So I'm going to save, hit play, and then let's try dropping a bomb out. So here we go. I hit the button and a bomb dropped out. You might have seen it right there. I just launched it out. Here, let me see if I can move around. And I hit the button. Let's see. Oh, is it time yet? There we go. And a bomb dropped out. But watch this. So this was the controller I'm moving on. And if I hit the button on here after that bomb blows up, bam, I get another bomb. So the problem I have is that right now it's reading from any controller. Now you might think to just go, okay, well, let's just change this from all joysticks to joystick 1, because that's what I would do, right? But you try it and it doesn't work. It doesn't change anything. It still reads from both of the joysticks, right? Because it's not actually using that field for this. What we actually need to change is this. So instead of reading joystick button 2, we need joystick 1 button 2. Now that will limit it to just reading from the first joystick. And again, it's a little bit different because you don't use the joy number down here. When we're on key or mouse button, the joystick number doesn't actually do anything. But now you can see I hit it and it doesn't do anything now on player 2. But on player 1, it actually drops the bomb. Again, the part here that's interesting and important is really putting that joystick number there and still using key or mouse when you want to read a joystick button. For axes, totally different, which is kind of the weird thing. And like on these controllers, these buttons are axes. So, you're going to get mixed up a little bit. Don't worry about it. But if you do, just remember that you got to put the joystick number there. All right, so I'm going to stop playing, go back in and make sure that these are set up right. So I've got joystick 1 button 2, and it's set up with the defaults there. I'm going to duplicate it and make a bomb 2. Name it bomb 2 and replace this joystick 1 with joystick 2. Save, and I'm going to go into Unity. I'm going to disable the default bomb that's right here. I'm going to turn on my other player. Hit play. Let's see, my bomb launchers are releasing. Actually, I'm going to go fix the word release right there and change my default. So I misspelled release. I rename it Control RRRELEASE, velocity. And I'm going to set the default here to something a little bit bigger, like a 10, and save that off because the 3 was way, way, way too slow. So now I'm just going to launch these bullets off, or these bombs off into the front. And you know what else I want to do? I want to make them not collide with the players. So let's do that first. But I know I said I was going to do something else first, but I'm going to make them not collide with the players first. Now go to the bomb script. I'm going to change the layer of it. Right now it's on the default layer and everything is on the default layer. So I'm going to add in 2 new layers. I'm going to hit add layer. I'm going to add in a bomb and I'm going to add in a player. I'll go select the bomb and I'm going to go to the layer section and choose bomb. And then I'm going to go to overrides and apply it so that all my bomb prefabs now have that. If I hit select, you see that now the bomb is on that layer. I'm going to go to my 2 players. I'm going to do it in prefab mode so I don't have to hit apply. And I'll change their layer to player. And then I'll hit yes to change the children too, so it changes the collisions, and save it off. Then if I go to project settings, edit project settings, and go to physics, you'll see there's a collision matrix right here. I can just uncheck the collision between bomb and player, so player and bomb right there. I can even uncheck player and player so they can stack on top of each other. And maybe I'm going to leave bomb and bomb so they can bounce each other around. I'll close that. I'm going to go to File, Save Project, because that's the only way to save these things, and then go back in and hit play. By the way, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button and the share button and all that stuff, I really appreciate it. I know I don't think I asked anybody about it yet, but if you don't mind, I appreciate it. It helps a lot. Get stuff out there, and it's cool. All right, so I'm dropping bombs on player 2 and dropping bombs on player 1. All right, now the next step is going to be obviously to next step is to make them drop bombs at each other first, and then there we go. Their bombs bounce off. Now we'll make the bombs actually blow up the bad guys. Now we got 2 guys that can drop bombs. We'll make them blow up bad guys and see who can get the most points. All right, so we'll stop playing. Actually, let's see what this error is here. Oh, this error, by the way, if you're looking at it and seeing it, it's just a Unity editor error. It happens in this latest version of Unity 2020. I wouldn't worry about it. It's nothing important. All right, so let's go make it do the actual exploding part where it blows stuff up when it actually blows up instead of just blinking and then disabling itself. So go back into the script. And what we want to do here is set up a damage radius, like some range of distance that it can hit enemies at, and then a damage amount. So I'm going to add in 2 new fields. Actually, let's do it let's make the exploding part. And it's not in the bomb because it's going to be in the explode. Let's do it here, and then we'll generate the fields for it. So we've got our bomb script here. It loops through, waits until we hit the explode time, and then at the end, it does the damage and destroys itself. So let's implement doing damage. First step is going to be to find all of the enemies in range. So we can do that with a physics. Let's see if I can type it in. PHYSICS dot overlap sphere. And then we can just give it our current position, transform.position, and then some radius. Let's call this explosion radius. Actually, let's just call it radius. So this is going to give us all of the colliders that are within the radius of our, well, of this object, right? It's going to give us every collider that's within whatever our radius is of this position. So you can imagine there's a big giant circle. Anything that's within however many meters away this is will be returned back in this array of collider 2Ds. I don't have that yet, so let's add it. So we'll go here and we'll say collider, not, I said collider 2D. It's an array of colliders, not collider 2Ds. Let's say colliders. So collider array named colliders is equal to physics.overlap sphere, and we use our transform position in the radius. Let's generate a field for the radius. Hit F12 and go to it. We'll replace private with serialized field again. And I'm going to make this like 5 meters away. So this will get everything that's 5 meters away or less. And we can always adjust it. It's a serialized field, so we can modify it in the inspector. All right, I'll save that off. And then what we want to do now is loop through all of these colliders. And if any of them are enemies, we'll just tell them to take damage. So I'll copy colliders and I'll say for each, hit tab a couple times, and I'll say enemy, or actually let's say collider, because enemy is not really accurate, and hit tab again and put in colliders. I just pasted it. So, and then I hit enter. So we're going to loop through each collider in the colliders and say var enemy equals collider.getComponent enemy. So this will get an enemy from that collider, and then if there is an enemy on it, so if the thing that we're overlapping into actually has an enemy script on it, then we want to do something to it. So the enemy.take damage, and we'll just make them take damage at, well, whatever their position is. We'll say enemy.transform.position, and then we'll do the player number. So we need to assign a player number to the bomb, which means that we need to assign our bomb. Well, we need to just, let's just assign that on our bomb launch. So say public int, or let me see, how do I do this? Player number, no, public void set player int player number. I'll say underscore player number equals player number. Ah, typed that wrong. That one right there. And generate a field for it. All I'm doing here is just making a publicly accessible method to set my player number. I could have just made it a public field too, but I have a bad habit of not doing that. And then we'll and then we'll assign it right here. So we'll assign the player number. What we're going to do, the reason that I need to do this though is because this bomb is not going to be related to the player after it's launched. So when I launch it, I'm just going to set the player. So when we do the player launching right here, where's the part where we launch it on the bomb dropper? When we drop the bomb, I'll say bomb.setPlayer, and we'll give it our player number. Yeah, I have the player here. So player.player number. In fact, I probably should just set the player and cache that or something, but I think I'm good with it right now. So we'll set the player, lock that in. That should allow us to give points to the correct player. The last thing I need to do is give it a damage amount. Oh, actually, wait. We don't allow for damage amounts. Everything takes 1 damage, so that's actually fine. But let's fix that. Let's make it so that damage amounts can be bigger, because right now, only being able to do 1 damage is kind of lame. Let's make it so that we can do more. So I'll say int amount equals 1. I'm going to default the damage amount to 1, and I'm going to say that the current health minus equals the amount. So here in our take damage method of the enemy, making it variable but optional. So what this does, by the way, for anybody who's not used optional parameters, is that we can specify an amount, and if we don't, it will use 1. So when we call take damage, it will have 2 overloads for it essentially. Let's go to the bomb and see what it looks like. So here you see that my take damage is still fine, even though I don't have a damage number. But if I hit comma, you see that it has int amount equals 1. I can just give it an amount. So I'll say underscore damage. I'll generate a field for it. Oops, I generated a method. I'm going to hit Control Z, type in damage again, hit Alt Enter, and I'm going to generate a field instead. So I want a read-only field for the damage one there. I'm going to go into take damage here because I think I might have generated an extra one. Yeah, I did. And when I hit F12, I generated a method that took object type for damage. I'm going to just go in here and delete that and go back. All right, so save that off, and then let's go back to our call to take damage. So in the take damage call, in bomb, we're passing in a damage amount now, and I just need to go up here and set that up as a serialized field. The serialized field, int damage equals, I'm going to give it a value of like 5. I think that's enough to kill everything. I don't think we give anything more than 5 health. So we'll save it off. And let's go into Unity and try out the bombs. I expect my bombs are going to work unless I missed something. I don't know if I missed anything. Let me know if you guys saw anything in chat. Okay, so I run around. Oh, I need to turn on some enemies. Let's go find a spawner. Flip on this spawner that spawns guys from the bottom. And start shooting. And then drop some bombs. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how good I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn on that spawner again while I'm not playing. Get this work. Go get the spawner on. Hit play. I'm going to grab player 1. All right. And then we'll drop out a bomb. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to have to turn off this other player. I'm terrible at controlling 2 players at once. Downside to building a 2-player game when you only got 2 hands. All right, so I got Marvin's coming in. I'm going to drop some bombs out there and see if the bombs actually do anything to him. Bam! Oh, you saw that, right? The bomb just blew up both of those guys. Drop it out there. The other thing I could do is just add like an on-collision enter to the bomb too, so that it blows up when it hits them. But I think that just letting it roll out might be just as interesting. The radius is probably a little bit small. Yeah, it's kind of working though. All right, I'm gonna stop playing and shut up for a minute. So I don't know if there are any other features I want to add in real quick. I guess maybe a quick power up or something real quick, and then I feel like I want to get over to building out to the arcade cabinet, which is going to probably be. I think I'll just do that in another one. Do another stream where we'll do the cabinet part. I need to set everything up so you can see how we set it all up to run on there and build it out, and then do one where we're going to networked multiplayer and do it online. I want to get like I think a working version up online so that you can play with it, and then go through and so like when I'm going through, people can actually play the game online too and battle each other and stuff. So I think I might do that sometime this week and go through that. So somebody's saying, can I disable the bots AI and put one as a test dummy? I mean, we could. The easiest way to disable them, by the way, is to just turn off their nav mesh agent. You just make it so they don't move. They won't walk. You just toggle that agent off. They won't be able to move and they'll just stand still. The other thing you do is just crank up their health or make them invulnerable theoretically, but I don't think we need to. But yeah, you definitely could. Like I said, that's just on. Let's go to the bots real quick. Go to the bots and go to the enemies. You select them. You just see the nav mesh agent here. It controls their speed and it's how they move at different speeds. You turn that off, they'll just stand still. You'll still be able to shoot them and kill them and stuff, but it stands still. It work fine as a dummy. Let's see if there's anything else in chat. I'm just gonna hang out and chat for a few minutes and see what everybody's up to too. Let me switch to camera view for a second. Pull things up and see what everybody's up to. Oh, sorry, really thirsty. My dogs are going crazy outside, barking at something. Who knows what? Anyway, see, I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah, I think I might just wrap it up here and take a little break for a while, and then we'll come back maybe later this week. Go to either the cabinet side or the networked multiplayer side. I think things are separated out enough that it's easy enough to switch it over to a network one, and then it's also really easy to go to the cabinet. So I don't know what you guys prefer, if you want to see network stuff or arcade stuff. My guess is probably network stuff, but I don't know. So if you guys have any preferences, can you just let me know in chat, and I'll put up a poll on the community part of the page too, and see what everybody thinks, what they want to see. If you guys have something there, preference there, then we can go one way or the other. Is there an issue with moving up and down arrow to move lines, or just a preference? No, I'd say there's definitely no issue using alt and up and down to move stuff. I use that a lot in Rider too to block move things too. Let's see what else. Network multiplier. For the cabinet, it's a arcade cabinet, the NBA Jam arcade cabinet. I don't know if you can see it there. There's some pictures of it, but essentially building it out for multiplayer, and I don't know, it was kind of fun to put it onto there. Playing actual like Unity games that you build onto the thing with actual controllers and buttons is a blast. Obviously, I think the network stuff applies to more people, but it's just not nearly as exciting. It takes a little bit more setup, but it's still fun to do. and it's pretty easy too with a game like this. We don't have a lot to cover, so it's relatively easy to handle. So I maybe we'll do the network one next, because then we'll deal with bullets and bombs and all this stuff over the network and the replication and stuff. That would probably be about the same amount of time. I'm thinking probably about 3 hours to do a quick conversion into multiplayer, just because things are already pretty easily separated out and ready to go. It's going to be pretty simple to do, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just babbling now. So it looks like everybody's up for the network stuff. So I think I'll probably go for that next, and then maybe even just build out a full tutorial too, step by step, or a little mini course or something on how to do it. Um, Outside of that, I think I'm gonna wrap it up and take a break because I'm tired and thirsty, and gonna go do a bunch of other stuff. Got a couple lessons I need to finish encoding and export from course stuff. And is there anything else? I don't know. I guess I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. It's always a blast. I'll put all of the code for this up too, so you can grab it. It's there's a link down below that has the code to start. I'll put the latest version of the code up after this call, and then we'll go through that, and we'll just do the other stuff. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. I really appreciate it if you don't mind. Go drop it on Facebook or whatever else. It makes the streams fun and engaging, and there are lots of people in here. So I appreciate it. And I don't know what else I want to talk about. Anything else? Let me see. Is there anything else to talk about? Oh, I was a little curious. I mean, I don't know if this is the right place to ask, but I was curious about the other video stuff I was doing. So I did a video on a desk review that was totally not code stuff, and I didn't know if anybody hated it. It seems like it's actually doing okay though. I was thinking about doing one on this chair specifically, ergonomically. I really love this Razer Isker chair. It's freaking amazing. I was really excited when it came out because it has lumbar support, and it's helped my back a ton. So if people are interested in that kind of stuff too, let me know. Yeah, I'll do some more of those too. I'll probably do them anyway, just because they're fun. And it lets me practice playing with the camera a little bit. Anyway, I think I'm out of stuff, so I just want to say thanks again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. And then if you want to see us go to networked multiplayer, well, it'll be in Mirror. We'll do it with Mirror, and we'll convert everything over to running on the network. And I'll see if we can get a WebGL version up and running first, so that people can actually try it out, play it, go through the code and stuff. Again, you have to get your own art, but eventually I'll get some art that I can just distribute and then build out a full like a full tutorial that you can download and stuff and try things out. So thanks again everybody for coming out and watching. I really appreciate it. Again, don't forget to hit share and all that stuff. That makes, I think, a bigger difference. Or just leave a comment afterward if you liked it or anything. Appreciate it again. All right, I'm gonna shut up now and hit the end button and